Hello again, Art 2 students. Today I thought I would talk a little bit more about adding the textures to your dragons once you get them on your final scratch board. So I wanted to show you how to do a couple of those things in case you're having some troubles. Right now I just wanted to, on our last video I showed you how to transfer your drawing by shading it in the back, taking a pen to go over all of your lines, and then that would transfer those lines and pencil to the scratch board. So then in your scratch art pack you have a wooden stylus that's got a metal point on the end, and that's the one you're going to use for the dragon piece. So you can see that I've already transferred just part of this dragon onto the scratch board, and I've just started scratching out some things. Now the first thing that you're going to be inclined to do would be to just go in here and trace all of these lines that you've done in pencil. But remember, that's not what I want you to do. Anybody could do that, but since we're in Art 2, we're going to learn how to add the textures and values in here, since that's what we're working on. So how will we add textures and values here? Well, the pencil lines are again to act as a guide, and that's going to show you where you need to shade, where you need to add texture. One good thing is to think about a light source. A light source, if it's coming from this direction, then the things on this side are going to look like they are lighter, and the things on this side are going to look like they're darker. So if we have this little kind of pattern like this on the neck of the dragon, you could start where the line is and sort of take a little bit of that out, and then just start doing like a little value range with your hatch marks, and you would make your hatch marks further and further apart to make it look like it's getting darker as it comes down here to the bottom. So you'd scratch out more at the top, like the sun is hitting it, and less on the bottom, and then you would repeat that. So then the next little section here, you would start scratching out a lot at the top, and then starting your value range less and less as you go down to the bottom, so that sort of creating this ribbed look. And you would just continue, if you have any pattern like this on your dragon, you would just continue that going on down, and I think you can see how that's looking. And you know, this is a dragon that somebody did last year, so I wanted to show you how that looks when it's all finished. She's got this ribbed look on here, so it's she's taken more out at the top and less, and she did the same thing for the belly here and for part of the wings. So that's one way that you can, one type of texture technique you can do. Same thing if we're doing the horns. We've got some horns here. So if we take out the top of the horns, like the light's shining on it, so it's going to make that really bright. And then you would start scratching in less and less as you go down this. And this is again using just those hatch marks that we've been learning about. Remember, we've got the hatching, the cross hatching, the stippling that we can use. And less until we go down there. If you wanted to go cross over, then we would be doing the cross hatching. And then you would start again the same way here. Take out the top, and then start your value range and do less and less as you come down. And remember, you had your little practice piece. I would practice all of these kinds of techniques on that little practice piece before you do them on the final. Same thing with these little ribbed pieces here. You can take more out at the start of them and less as you come over, so then it's going to sort of create that ribbed look. So what we're trying to achieve here, guys, is to put texture and value in our dragon. Not just outline it. We don't want it to look like a coloring book page when you're finished. We want to be able to see the textures and values. And you'll just sort of keep on working with this until you get the effect that you want. So now for the scales. Now this has got lots and lots of scales, and you can see for the finished product, she spent a lot of time, hopefully there's not too much of a glare here, getting each one of these scales to look like they've got a lot of value in them. She did not just go in here and trace each scale and then just leave it alone. What she did is she took the end of the scale and scratched more out and less as it went in, so that it creates this nice shaded kind of look. So how would we do that? Well, if this is the tip of a scale here, we're going to take more of it out and then less as it comes down, and we would just sort of keep repeating that for each of these scales that you would have traced onto your scratchboard paper. The more you trace and transfer on here with the transfer process, the easier it's going to be for you to know where everything is. And then you just keep on repeating that kind of effect until you have all of your scales done. So this would be a lot different. If I were just going to outline them, I would just be doing this. But we're not just outlining, okay? So we need to add value. So we need to come in here and add a little light to the tips of these little scales and give them some dimension. She's got an eye on here. I started doing some of that. You know, we're doing any kind of texture that you can do with the cross hatching, stippling. Let's see what else is there. She's got some clouds here. Again, we wouldn't just want to outline the clouds. We would want to add texture in there. So you might want to do some kind of swirling hatch mark so that it sort of looks like a fluffy cloud here. And you could continue taking pieces out of that until you got a cloud look. Some of you guys will have some ground. If you have some ground, oh, by the way, you want to have either your sleeve or a piece of paper under the palm of your hand so that this isn't going to make it harder to scratch off for you. So anyway, if I'm doing a bunch of little grass up here, it's just like a lot of tiny little hatch marks. Same thing if I'm doing a mountain here, I'll just start putting in the textures of the mountain. Got some snow caps up here, so that would be lighter. So you might scratch all of that out. Let me just show you a couple of different techniques that people have used, because there's all kinds of different textures you can do. Here's a Chinese dragon. You can see that there's all kinds of different textures used in here. You can use the hatch marks going in different directions to create all these different kinds of textures. And the more you take out of an area, the thicker the line will be. So you have these thicker lines, these really thick areas here. Or you can keep your lines really thin and achieve this kind of effect. Here's another one. Some more different textures here. But you can see that they've got the feel of some nice patterns and textures with this one. Here's another one here. You can see that they have gone in here and tipped all the scales. They've gone in with the wings. They've even got some hatch marks for the top of the mountains that they've got in here. Here's one on top of a castle. You can see all the different, hopefully I'm trying to get not a glare on here, all the different textures that this student has put on. All the different, they got some stippling marks in here, along with the hatching, the cross hatching. Here's a flying dragon. You can see that this one's got the clouds, so they've gone in here and made sort of swirly marks with that. So again, I would encourage you, make really good use of that little practice paper. Know the kinds of textures you're going to want to put on this. Practice them. practice getting the value scale in each of your textures so that when you're ready to do this final dragon, you will have practiced that and know what you're doing. This does take a lot of time. I've allowed you a couple weeks for this, so it's going to take a lot of time to do this, and take your time on it. So I look forward to seeing the dragons when you send them to me. If you have any questions, you can always message me and ask me. All right, guys, happy arting. Talk to you later.